Let's be honest, we all hate microtransactions in the games we love, but did you ever think about the possibility of developers using this for money laundering? Well, believe it because it's happening. Tonight we're also going to talk about streaming and social media and the toll that it takes on creators everywhere. All that and more on this week's episode of the Always Gametime Podcast. Hey everybody, my name is Ben and welcome back to the Always Gametime Podcast. Joining me this week, as always, is our beloved co-host Ryan. Ryan, say what's up to the people.
Hello. How are you doing, Ben? I'm doing well, right? I had a good Friday, right? You know, as one does, you have to treat yourself on Friday. I've been kind of on a diet that I've given myself, but I decided I'm going to get Taco Bell this morning, right?
Oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a Taco Bell guy at all, but there's this AM Crunch wrap. Yes, you get the jalapeno sauce because that's all you're getting, right? I don't care, sausage, bacon, whatever. Just get the extra jalapeno sauce. That's all you need. It's just this tortilla with cheese and eggs and fried up, whatever. It's good. So I get it on my way home. I'm like, all right, I'm going to eat this so my wife doesn't see me eat this. So I am in the vehicle just going to town on this. And next thing I know, I have like, I have this sauce just going down my arm. It goes down my elbow, all over my pants. Like, yeah, no, it's just everywhere. So other than that, I mean, I had a pretty good day, and I'm ready to get going. Let's hit it.
Well, first off, how'd you explain that one when you got home? I mean,
oh yeah, caught sauce-handed.
Sauce-handed,
sure.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah. Why don't you go ahead and get us on into it with our gaming news?
Yes. Let's hit our quick hits here. So I have been playing Apex like crazy. They got a big new event called War Games coming, and they're going to do 5 new modes. Right? We're going to get a second chance, ultra zones, auto banners, and killing time, and armor regen. I'm really pumped for it. It's only a 2-week event. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's enough to get me back into it. We've already been messaging privately about setting up some stream nights for us to play and check out these new events. So pretty cool. In sadder news, we have unfortunate delays for the popular new game Deathloop that was originally supposed to come out in May. It's now delayed all the way up until September. You guys may have remembered we covered this game during the PlayStation State of Play previously. And unfortunately, we have to wait till September to get any coverage for you guys. And it begs the question, why are so many games running into this delay issue? And it's driving me crazy. What do you think, Ryan?
I don't get too invested in it, right? I've been burned by pre-orders one too many times. So it takes a lot for me to pre-order a game. So them postponing it really doesn't bother me a whole lot. I'd like to see what Chad has to say about games being delayed. I know you, Ben, have said that it's a big red flag. Do you still hold on to that belief?
Absolutely. There's got to be something, a miscommunication and an error somewhere inside the process that causes such a big delay like this.
This is, I don't know. I work in tech. You work in tech. Is this really a big delay? You understand the code that goes into these games. Is it still a big delay?
It's not a big delay in terms of something that would concern me from the technical side. I always get upset because of the marketing angle from these developers that are pushing the games, because in my head, there should be a clear enough communication line to know when it's okay to promote. And I know that these guys push deadlines like crazy. They have all these studies that are like, this is the best month, this is the best time to release. But at the same time, think of the disappointment from the fan base before the game's even out when you have an error like this. Now, a delay is better than a game that doesn't function on launch. Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it can be disappointing for fans that are excited. That's all.
Yeah. And fans aren't good at waiting. That's for sure.
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah. Now, speaking of waiting, I think a lot of certain people have been waiting for another Space Jam movie for a long time. They have released a Space Jam trailer. It's going to be starring LeBron James, I forgot a few of the other names, but yeah, if you like that kind of thing, go check it out. I feel we kind of had to mention it on the stream. There's been multiple Space Jam games that I played as a kid. Ben, did you ever watch Space Jam as a kid?
Oh, absolutely. And I didn't know about this reboot up until like a day or two ago. So when I saw LeBron James in it, I was like, that's actually pretty cool. Like, I'm excited for him and for the movie.
I still believe that's partly why he signed in Los Angeles with the Lakers, so he could do this movie.
Yeah, that's awesome. You love to see it.
Yep.
Let us know what you guys
Yep.
think, as always. Something else kind of crazy to me that we're seeing so much of lately. Jimmy Fallon recently hosted a live stream for what I believe was the first time on their Twitch channel, doing an Among Us charity stream, which is like
Jeez.
the seventh celebrity Among Us stream that we've seen this year alone on Twitch. And
Yeah.
it raises a couple questions. One, it's really cool to see. I mean, anytime you get major publicity to the streaming platform, that's great. But also, this event in particular was pretty fun because it was such a star-studded cast. We had huge stars from the infamous Stranger Things series that accompanied alongside for the show. We had some developers from Among Us themselves there. We had
Nice.
Corpse Husband, obviously, is going to be there for an Among Us event like that. And I mean, it's just like you talk about all these amazing people in one stream. Now, unfortunately, I was able to catch some of it, and they had a slew of technical issues, which, with getting all these camera angles from people that are all over the world into one game,
Yeah.
it's bound to happen. But yeah, they were benefiting Feeding America, and it was just pretty cool. And now my major question with this is, what does this mean for Among Us? They've released a new map recently. They're trying to support the game, but if all these huge people start coming to Twitch and this is their game of choice, I have to wonder what that's going to do to the game even further.
Yep. I mean, and they have an easy job, really. They don't. I mean, they were going to make another like an Among Us 2, right? They can that. They're like, no, we have the game that people like. We're going to tune it up, and that's what they've done, right? They're
Yeah.
going to tune it up. They added voice chat to it. And that's what they need to do. They need to refine that. They need to figure out whatever they can do to really make it as streamable as possible. That's really what Among Us should be focusing on. If they can do anything to make it more compliant with Twitch and Facebook and YouTube, that's what their focus should be. And hopefully we'll see it.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. So what else do we have? We had more. Or yeah, no, I'm excited about this one. HBO is about to start recording a Last of Us, right? So this is going to be Pedro Pascal as Joel. Last of Us, if you're not if you don't know what it was a PlayStation 3, I think originally game.
I believe so.
Maybe PlayStation 4. Yeah, and it was a huge hit. Now they're going to make a series of it on HBO. So we have Pedro Pascal as Joel. You might have heard that name. He was Oberyn in Game of Thrones. He is also the Mandalorian in the Disney Plus series. And then we'll have Bella Ramsey as it's Ellie, right?
I
And
should know that. Yeah, I don't know. Ellie?
yeah,
Embarrassing.
it's and she was also in Game of Thrones. She was Lan- Lena Momont Momont Mormont. My bad. She had the defective mark on her face, and in the Game of Thrones series, she was great in it. They were both perfect in Game of Thrones, and obviously Pascal is great in The Mandalorian. That's a huge hit. So I'm really excited for that to get going, and that's be on the lookout for that. It's about to film in July, and I'm not too sure what the release is going to be on it.
Yeah, I'm very excited. Again, I said I should know that because I'm very fond of the series itself. I've watched playthroughs, never had the opportunity to play them myself, but they're
Mhm.
infamous, and the games have
Yeah.
been just beloved by so many gamers from around the world. And in other news with Last of Us, it's pretty interesting. People are actually disappointed right now with PlayStation because they recently announced that they're looking into doing a remaster for The Last of Us, which isn't
Yep.
even that old of a game. Last of Us
No.
2 just came out recently, and it's just kind of odd that this is an angle that they would choose to pursue when there's so many titles that fans have been calling for. Not even just remasters, but actual new content and games in those franchises as well. So there's a little bit of an
Yeah.
uproar on Twitter today as we're
Oh,
recording this.
and in the same breath, they said they're going to do a Last of Us remastered. They said the same thing. They're going to cancel or at least suspend Days Gone 2, right? The game didn't take off that well, but I mean, it has a pretty popular base. So
Yeah.
that's kind of the pushback I was seeing as well.
Yep.
Interesting, interesting. So I just had one more quick hit. I wanted to say rest in peace, DMX. He passed away. He's probably one of my most favorite hype men. I mean, all through high school, right? I listened to that music. That stuff pumped me up for any event. It was amazing. Hopefully he finds a better place, right? And also Rest in peace, Prince Philip. Moving on. Next.
All right, guys. Well, let us know what you guys think about those as always in the comments below. But we are going to move on to something I'm excited to address and to bring into the light of our podcast because it impacts all of us. And we're going to go into further detail about how streaming and social media can take a mental toll on creators everywhere. Now more than ever, Twitch is a super powerful tool and social media as well to help us stay connected during this pandemic. However, some would go on to say that this is one of the biggest detriments to humanity, causing fake glamorized relationships and hostility between people. And I think, I speak for myself here, but I've definitely seen both angles of that lens in reference to
Mhm.
these. So tonight, we're just going to take a deeper look and talk about this. And to give you guys a little bit more context, those of you that are listening, starting with my own history, I've been streaming and recording YouTube videos for the last 6 years now, off and on, with varying levels of success. And I think it's important to define success on a scale because it's different for everyone. Every streamer, every creator has different visions of what that looks like for them. And I've learned so much in the past 6 years about things that work well, things that don't work well. I've learned about myself and what I enjoy doing and the type of content that I want to make. But it hasn't always been fun, and sometimes it can get really difficult. And we wanted to take some time to address why that is. And, if you're someone out there who's been struggling recently or someone who's been struggling for a long time to try to establish a platform and grow in these areas, we wanted to let you know that it's not just you. There's a lot of different people out there that would agree with you on how that feels and kind of why these bad side effects can happen. So that's my overall experience with this so far.
Yeah, yeah, we really want to give what you should look for, and if you're someone that is a streamer or hasn't streamed before, or you're just someone that participates in social media, this is kind of the thing you really, I think we all need to look out for each other in. Right now, my own personal perspective is I'm what you call 100% a hobby streamer. I got into it because it looked fun. I had a little spare change. I needed another hobby to kind of go with my games and give me a little bit more what I felt was purpose, which sounds ridiculous as I'm reading it, but uh, there's been several times where things have looked very good for me, right? But forever, and I think that happens to everyone. But there's always those high points, and you start to do this what if, and you make these expectations. But you, like when I got into it, I said I'm not expecting anything, but that starts to change no matter who you are, no matter what you have inside you, right? And like all good things, it kind of comes to an end, and things come back down, things get quiet again. And that's kind of what we wanted to talk about tonight is that mental toll that it can really take on you. And from the streaming side, it's more, I think, the separation and like because by streaming, you're really trying to put yourself on the screen and hey, this is me. I want to talk to people that like things that I do too. And when, it's just a big echo of yourself coming back, there's nothing else. It's really hard on yourself. And I think with other social media like Twitter and Facebook, right? Sure, you might be getting answers, but it's a lot more violent. I'm going to use the word violent, right? When you do go out there, it's especially politically, you'll get that hard pushback. But even the repercussions of Facebook and Twitter, you're going to see what other people have, and this is very much the same thing with Twitch. You're going to have what do you that envy, right? Right.
Mhm.
I think that's a big word we have down here, and it's probably going to come up a lot. Is that envy that I want that. Why can't I have that kind of thing? And I think that takes a big toll on people. Ben, is has that ever hit you?
Yeah, so I think that it wouldn't impact us so deeply if we didn't care about it, right? And a lot of streamers, when they
Mhm.
first come into this, they're testing it out and they kind of develop this fondness for streaming and for connecting with people in general, just on social media. You see a lot of Instagram accounts that are trying to be influencers and create these awesome communities for people. And so there's definitely some times where you're envious of others who you might think maybe have like a very similar stream or content to you, and they're doing performing at a much higher volume than you would be on your own. And it's not just envy, there's a lot of things to look out for when you're in this creative process, and you're just not seeing the growth that you might want to for your personal channel. I know me personally, I've dealt with anxiety before streams,
Mm,
and when I'm down about how my channel's doing, sometimes I'll feel like I want to be isolated, because as a creative type personally, I'm really hard on myself when things aren't going well, or when I'm not doing 100% effort full like all the time. But you're going to burn yourself out operating at that level,
yeah.
and you could even risk losing the thing that you fell in love with, by making it more about growth and business than what you fell in love with in the first place. So anxious to hear more about what you have to say on the matter before we move on to some tips that we have for people so that they don't think it's a horrible thing.
Yeah, yeah. I guess all I have to say is more that I think we should look out for each other, right? Especially when, oftentimes small streamers will be like, "Oh, just stick with it, just stick with it." No, breaks are okay. So Ben, with all those negative things, why do you think someone should get into streaming or social media or anything like that when there's a lot of anxiety that goes with it?
Sure. So we talked about the negative side of things, but obviously there's a huge positive, and we wouldn't do it if there wasn't. Obviously, you can be in a vulnerable state trying to put yourself out there on the internet and be yourself and be this personality that's
Mhm,
helping to bring people together. And, despite like the fear of failure that might accompany those goals that you have, those ambitions, I have made some of the best friends through streaming that I never would have met if I hadn't done so otherwise. I've had opportunities given to me that I never would have received if I hadn't kind of established myself and my platform. And other than that, it just is really fun. I tried to explain it to my
mhm,
friends when I first got started about how streaming really elevates my personal gaming experience, because if I hit some crazy clip or something wild happens, I don't have to worry about like recording it and then posting
yeah,
it. It happens live with an audience there who's alongside to enjoy the moment. And I've always just loved playing games with friends, like better than by myself. Like even when I was growing up, I'd have friends over, we'd play together, and streaming
mhm,
really emulates that for me on a personal level. And then you
yeah,
branch that out to social media, it's similar. You've got vloggers or lifestyle accounts that like to share
mhm,
those moments of their lives with the people that follow them along in their journey.
yeah,
And it's just nice to be able to engage, especially I'm kind of a introverted person myself, so this is like a much more controlled environment that I
yeah.
can express myself in.
Nice, nice. I like it. I like it. And speaking of friendships born of streaming, that's us,
Yep.
right? 2 years, right? I found Ben. We were a coworker for a short time, but I mean, really, things took off once I knew he streamed, and he kind of pushed me to get into it. And it's the rest, as they say, is history.
Yeah, absolutely. So why don't we talk about some things that we've come up with that have helped us in the past to kind of encourage people even further who are maybe on
Hmm.
the border of trying out streaming or
Hmm.
developing these communities.
Yeah, yeah. Streaming with friends, right? That's one that I do almost every time now, right? I am always happy when I have a little bit of chatter in mind, but I can't count on it. So me setting up times to play with my friends and making that on stream nice, that's always worked great for me to keep me up. So there's no dead air for one. And two, it's you still have some conversation. You're still having that fun back and forth. Um, but yeah, yeah. Ben, you have any others?
So one thing that I think can be extremely helpful is establishing a why you started streaming in the first place, and it can really help you through low traffic streams when there's not as many people chatting. And you remember, like for me, for example, I wanted to do this because I thought it was super cool how people all around the world could come together behind something they loved and shared in common. And so even at my lowest times, I hop on stream and I have my friends that show up almost every time, and I'm reminded by why I do it in the first place.
Nice, nice. That's you have one of the best and most loyal base that I've seen, and it's amazing. Shout out to your fans, and if you haven't ever checked out Always Game Time, Ben, who I'm talking to, please do. Yes, yes. let's wait. Did we have anything else? I always
Yeah.
want to jump into the next thing, right? And I need to just like pump the brakes and check the notes. What else? What am I missing, Ben? What else do we have on this?
So, just a couple other things to help motivate you guys. Be honest with yourself. It's totally
Yes.
okay to realize how you're feeling in the moment and make a plan or a strategy to get out of that slump. And if your goal is to become the next ninja, you might need to reevaluate your priorities with streaming. Um,
Yeah.
Also, Ryan mentioned streaming with your friends. I think that that can be a really great strategy and tool to use. And be intentional with your time. Don't just, if you're in a slump and you're someone who's been streaming for a long time, think of ways that you can make your stream more engaging, or think of some new, fresh widget you can add, anything that you can do to continue to improve. Even if the numbers don't necessarily get better for you, your overall production will get better and you'll have this sense of pride for putting in that work.
Yep.
So, and just get connected to a network, find other streamers, other creators, other gamers that you can just spend time with, and that can really help as well.
Yep. Oftentimes, what people will say is go offline and work on clips, work on the back side of your streaming setup, right? Get out there more on other social medias and things like that. Really try to push in a different way so you're not so down. Set realistic goals, obviously. Don't expect to go from 0 to 100 in a week or a month or even a year, right? Just be honest with yourself and don't let that what I'm going to call it, right? That little part of you take over and challenge everything you're doing. You gotta tame it down a little bit and just be your most creative self.
Yep. And if you guys are looking for that network of people to rant about your issues with or get suggestions for, please remember that we have a Discord community that we would be more than excited to have you guys join us in our podcasting endeavors. But also, if this pertains to you or you're interested or you want to know about more about streaming, please get connected with us. We'd be more than happy to help you guys.
Yes, yes, for sure. Hit that Discord up. Join us live every Friday night, 9 Central, 9:30 Central Time, 8:30 or wait, Eastern, right? Yeah,
10
or
10
no, 10,
10 p.m.
10
Eastern. Yeah.
Eastern. Yeah,
Yep.
time's hard. Yeah. But yes, there is one final answer I have, right? Right. Ben, do you know the answer? Do you want to give the answer?
Yeah, just
Yes,
go ahead and subscribe to our referral code and just buy your viewers. It's easy. It's easier that way.
exactly. Exactly. There it is. No, don't do that, chat, but I thought
Terms
it
of
was
service. Yeah.
yeah. I'm sure everyone's had that option in there.
Oh
That they've had
gosh,
that
I
viewer
hate
show up in their
those.
chat. Yeah.
I hate those spam bots that are like, "Want to get famous?
Bots.
Buy
Yeah.
1,000 viewers for $5." It's like, all right, get out of here. Yeah, don't give up. Be strong. You guys got this.
Exactly. Exactly. That's right. All right. So now we're to our last segment, which is money laundering within microtransactions, right? There was an article on PC Gamer about weird financial dealings in the really old but still popular game Eve Online, which is just a massive multiplayer online rolling game set in space, right? To basically sum it up, they asked the question, what if a video game developer just created fake transactions as a way to launder money? So it's like Breaking Bad within video games, right? So it and to make it even more mischievous, they're like, what if they're working with an illegal entity as a way to clean money? So they weren't created for this purpose, but then they teamed up and they're like, all right, yeah, we can make X amount of revenue off this. Let's do it. What do you think about that, Ben? Do you think there are shady deals, and have you noticed anything or heard about something like this before?
This doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, I
Yeah.
never thought of it, so at first I was like, "Oh my gosh, why?" But it makes total
Mhm.
sense to me now. It still kind of sounds something I'd read out of a comic book rather than experience in real life. But I mean, if you look at it, it all adds up to how people could be taking advantage of the situation. Me personally, the closest I've come to this is seeing how games are reforming their in-game stores over the last couple of years. I mean, you look at loot boxes are starting to go away because it's encouraging like gambling for children and like all this other
Mhm.
stuff. And so it's always been a hot topic item. But I just couldn't believe this. I was like, wow,
Yeah.
how long has this been happening? And we didn't even know about it.
Oh, yeah, and think it could have been happening for years. And I mean, let's look at a game like WoW, right? A massive multiplayer, one of the OG big games, right? They've always had an issue with people earning gold within the game and then selling it for real money. And they're thinking that that could still be used as a way to clean money as well. So now WoW and EVE Online, none of these games have any laundering policies. They don't look for it at all. There's no algorithms, right? I mean, because within the financial markets, you have all these algorithms that can look for these transactions. So it's not out of the possibilities that these games could do the same.
Yeah. And I know I question the logistics side of things. Like, if they are, I mean, I guess technically at the end of the day, they're selling pixels, right? Usually it's like in
Yeah.
game loot. So
Yep.
they're making, yeah, the potential for profit there seems a little crazy. And I guess the idea is if they're, so explain to me in a little bit more detail how the bad people partnering with these developers could get away with this, because that's the part I'm still a little fuzzy on.
All right, so what the author goes into, they go into details saying what they would do. So let's say a drug dealer gets a bunch of cash. They have hundreds of thousands of dollars. So what I would do as a technician, I would create false users and then I would create fake transactions. So with those transactions, I would take that cash and then say I got it from credit card X, Y, or Z, which probably doesn't exist either. And then you would try to then you would have what's called, taxable revenue that way, right? And then you could kick back wherever you need.
Sure. Okay.
So it's kind of like, you ever watch Breaking Bad in the car dealer in
I
the car
just,
wash?
yeah, I haven't seen a lot of the show, but I get the
Sorry.
vibe from this for sure.
Yes. Yeah, so basically what's popular in a way for money laundering is you take an industry that's mainly takes in cash, what I think the tropes are: car wash, a place where you get your nails done. There's various things like that. A small market, like a general store, right? These are all tropes that I've seen on TV and been portrayed, right? So you take that cash in, and then you just say, "Hey, I actually made this bigger sale,
Right.
not this tiny sale." And that's basically all money laundering is to a certain degree. So the author ends the article by pointing out that, assume you're going to invest in a game company, right? And you look at the finances, you see, oh, they're making X amount on microtransactions. Well, now can you be sure of that, right? Can you
Right.
be sure that the revenue of these companies is as solid as you think? I mean, the first game I think of is, what if Grand Theft Auto is a
Yeah.
mirage?
Yeah.
Like, just imagine that. I mean, this is tinfoil hat 100%, but like, what if like 20% of Grand Theft Auto's money was illegitimate? And really, we should be looking at smaller companies, but I mean,
It's
just
hilarious to
imagine
think
the
about
story that would
though.
be.
Yeah,
Yes, yes,
with the
exactly.
theme of
Yeah,
that game, it's so perfect, but
yeah.
yeah.
It is. It's almost a little too perfect, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And that's really all they had on the money laundering thing. Go read that article. It was on PC Gamer. Just look at money laundering within Eve online. It was a great article. Go check it out.
And yeah, I certainly, it's super interesting. I'm glad that we brought it up into the show because I had never even considered this possibility. So makes you think,
Mhm.
it makes you wonder, how much more are we going to see in the future, with like, I mean, this is again, maybe conspiracy theories, but like cryptocurrencies and stuff on the rise and like all this other just like tech
Yep.
stuff in general. I wonder how much more we're going to have to implement like codes and crackdowns on existing games for issues that other people might be exploiting that we don't know about. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I would not be surprised within the next few years if we saw some kind of money laundering policy be implemented within these games. And granted, it'll be thrown in their terms of use. We'll say accept, and we won't read it or know about it at all.
true.
But yeah, Ben, that's all I had. What are you playing this week?
I am on the Valorant grind. I think I've mentioned this in the
Nice.
previous episode, but it's not
Yeah, I
going
think we're both
anywhere.
stuck. Yeah,
Yep.
me too. It's Apex all 100%. Yeah, and the house, my house at home, we've been into Uno. Like, I have a
Oh,
4-year-old and a 7-year-old, and they just kicked my butt right before I jumped online here. And so, yeah, I'm going to have to up my Uno game. The kids are getting better.
Look up some online strategies and
Yeah.
Uno Night's getting
What
spicy.
is the highest op play? Yes.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this week's episode of the podcast. Let us know in the comments what you thought about all the topics that we covered in tonight's show. As always, feel free to join us online on our Twitter account, Discord. All the links will be in the description below for you guys. We really appreciate you guys joining us on this journey, and we look forward to bringing you guys the show every single week. And yeah, thank you for just being a part of this.
Yes, thanks. We're getting more clips out there. Be sure to check us out on TikTok, Instagram, not really Facebook, but you can add Ben or I on Facebook. And what's the other one I'm missing? Twitter. Be sure. Twitter's my favorite. I will be posting lots of clips there. So go follow us there.
And
that's all. Yes.
The new YouTube channel. We almost forgot to announce that.
The new YouTube channel. Yes.
We're going to be uploading our VODs for the stream to a brand new account, which is separate kind of from the Always Gametime YouTube channel, as partly a test, but also just to keep the content concise there and give us the room for new content that we're going to be uploading here in the future as well. So go subscribe to that. The link for that has already been updated. Check it out. We'd really appreciate it.
Yes, please do. Thank you all. I love each and every one of you. It's so awesome to have you here. And go spread that peace and love. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Ben, and we'll see you on next week's episode of the Always Gametime Podcast.
Victory. We did it.